Bumblefoot, the mighty one.
There we go. Greetings. Hello.
How are you?
Good, very good. And you?
I'm good. I'm good.
I know we already talked about all this before.
Yeah, a little bit of runny nose for the people that are going to watch or hear this in the podcast on YouTube or whatever. I'm so glad that we made it with you. So happy to have you here. Thank you so much for taking the time, Rob.
No, thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. The whole community of Shred Music TV is a big fan of you. I am also a follower right there, a big fan of you too. So thank you so much. So what are you doing right now? What's going on with your projects right now? What you have right now going on?
All right. I have the Bumblefoot Returns. I have that album. And just been promoting the crap out of it and just constantly going and doing everything with that, practicing the impossible songs from it, and have some gigs coming up. So I just gotta work on those songs and get those drilled into my head, and been producing a bunch of bands, a lot of startup bands, and just helping them get on the right path and get them started well. I have a deal with a record label, Deco Records, where the bands I produce, they can have retail distribution automatically through Deco.
Oh,
so that's usually something that an unsigned first, starting up band can't get. So it's just something that I want to do to help these bands that I work with. And what else?
Well, tell me
what am I doing?
Tell me the album, because I saw that Guthrie Govan is on it, Steve Vai, Brian May.
Yeah.
That's sick, man. Of course, no less from you, that you're right there with all of them. But like, wow, what a Brian May. That's like, I mean, all of them, of course, Guthrie and Steve Vai, but Brian May, that's like, wow.
Yeah, something
when I read
special.
that, I'm like, wow.
It was the song, it was just the perfect song for him, like on the album. Like, it just had all these harmonies and melodies, and anything I would have played in that first solo section, I would have just been trying to channel his spirit, and I would have been just a fake version of him. So I asked him if he would lay it down, and he did. And I'm glad it gave the song what it truly needed. Yeah.
I checked, if I'm not mistaken, I was listening to your whole catalog on Spotify this week, but it's not yet in Spotify, right?
Oh, it is.
It is? Yeah. Oh, man.
It
so
is.
I don't know what's happened. Maybe when I downloaded it, because I told you, for guys, I'm working at cruise ship. Maybe when I downloaded it, maybe I didn't download the full catalog.
Well, it should be 14 songs.
Okay.
The 5th song is with Steve Vai. The 8th song is with Brian May. The 11th song is with Ben Karras on violin from the amazing band Thank You Scientist. Yes. The 10th song is with Guthrie. So if you got 14 songs, it should be there. I think with Spotify, they don't include the featuring in the name a lot of times.
Okay.
They just have, like, underneath it'll say Bumblefoot and this person.
Yeah.
So it's very easy to go unnoticed with Spotify.
It's okay, so you guys know already. It's out there. Also, I saw that you have merchandise, that you have, I think, like you did the LP thing, like for people that really like vintage stuff, right? Like you have, yeah.
So yes, if you're gonna do physical stuff, you gotta go all out. I just thought back to when albums would come out when I was a kid, and how it was like this major event and you couldn't wait for it. And, and you got something, there's something you held in your hands. And I wanted it to be like that. So I did as much as I could for this album release that I could, and there's still more to come. But for the vinyl, so it's full of artwork and more artwork and more artwork, and then it's a double LP with more artwork. And what I did is, on the second disc, I did 3 sides of music, and the 4th side is artwork, more art.
Wow, man.
So that
Looks awesome.
And that's how vinyl should be. It's, of course, 180 gram, the better quality. I did 3 sides because if I squeezed it onto 2 sides, the length of each side would have been so long that it could have degraded the sound quality. Once you get past like 25 minutes or so with vinyl, you start losing a little something. And if I stretched it out into 4 sides, it would have been a little too much getting up to change the album. So 3 sides and the 4th side just art. Seemed the right way to go.
How was your inspiration for this album? How was the production? How was everything, man? Because I know record an album, put it out is a lot of work.
It is, yes.
But it's a lot. It's a commitment. It's a lot of time consuming stuff. So how was this new adventure? The return, new adventures.
It was easy. It was fun. It was just whatever I felt like in that moment, that's the kind of song that came out. I didn't have a plan of, I'm going to write this kind of album. I didn't know how it was going to end up. It depends on what happened that day. For this one song, Moonshine Hootenanny, that one, I just happened to come home while there was an ad on the TV for some documentary of blues players. I was like, oh shit, I want to see that. And started watching it, and there was one dude just playing this rhythm of some kind of song, boom, cha, chaka, chaka, boom, cha, chaka, chaka, boom. And I immediately was like, yeah, and I got inspired, and I just immediately, without thinking, without planning anything, I just grabbed the guitar and just started. And I just started doing that, and I was like, all right, I got to get to the studio. I got to remember this, and went to the studio and just came up with part by part, I just laid that down, and then I was like, all right, I should stop and be a riff. And then another riff. And then let it go to the 4 chord, where'd it go? And then 4 to the 5. And then what I guess you could call the chorus, or at least the hook of the song, goes up to. And then a second verse, and that time I was like, let's make it crazy. Let's make it sound like a bunch of drums falling down the stairs and the guitar following it, and then doubling up the chorus, and then going into this crazy middle that's unexpected with all this weird, can't find the one droning low guitar riffs, and just take it to a whole other unexpected place, and then bring it back, and just you just think of it like a road trip that you're taking, and you're just picturing images that you're scoring, a scene of some kind. It's like everything should be like a little mini movie that you're watching, and this is the score to it. And that's sort of how I approached everything. It's always how I approach, if I'm doing music for a TV show or a video game or some horror movie or something like that. They provide the visuals, and it makes it very easy to, just write to that. You want to do the same thing, only the visuals are in your imagination. It's something that you feel that you're just sort of projecting inside your eyelids, and you write to that, and you say, where is this going? Where do you expect it to go? What would be a twist you don't expect to happen? And
that you're talking about, that's something that this is a very touchy subject, but I think that AI cannot do that yet. I'm checking all these AI new things that they create music with it. I mean, it's scary, to be honest, because I don't know, in 20 years, it's very scary.
Even by next year, it's going to be writing really amazing songs. And it's getting there in a lot of styles, but there is still...
But I still know that's the soul, man. I think that's still that thing,
the human intuition, the human something. I don't know if that could ever be replaced. As it keeps learning, it's gonna. AI is sort of like a sociopath. Like it learns and it imitates our behavior so that it can exist and coexist.
Your influences, like, tell me about your influences, like, maybe like back then and now, maybe you have the ones like, I don't know, me for example, Iron Maiden is like, you tell me I'm I don't know, having listened to Iron Maiden I think my entire life, and I have a new ones that like, I like, for example, Two Door Cinema Club. It's like a band from Europe, and that kind of, like a new stuff. So can you tell me more about that, like your influences, are new influences that maybe stuff?
It began when I was 5 years old, and I heard the band Kiss, the Kiss Alive album. So for me, the first influences were Kiss and the Beatles. And my goals were not guitar related, they were band related. It was about being in a band, being a team where everyone contributes and makes songs, rock songs. And yeah, and I originally wanted to be a drummer, but my brother wanted to be a drummer, so he became the drummer, and I wanted to be a bassist, but I was too small, I was too young, so I had a little kid-sized guitar and started on guitar and stayed with it. So it was always about bands. So growing up, it was all the current music, which is funny to say, because the current music was The Who, Led Zeppelin, Pink Floyd, things like that. It was all the bands of the 70s, because I am 55 years old. So we're talking 50 years ago, 5 years old, and listening to things from 50 years ago, 45 years ago, 40.
You don't look 55, just to let you know. You look great.
Well, thank you. Yes. Don't drink too much, don't smoke, don't do drugs, and just for men, medium brown on the beard. That'll do it.
So you have those bands growing up, and then when it came like the shredding part, because I don't know how I guess Hendrix and that kind of.
Yeah, I loved Hendrix and Jimmy Page. Just the creativity of his tones and his production of what he did with the Zeppelin albums. Then I heard Eddie Van Halen, and that warped my fragile little brain. And it just opened the door, and it was the permission. It was, okay, be creative. See, what can you do with this guitar? What can you do to a string to get more voices out of it? What can you do? And I just started experimenting a lot, all different things. And I was building guitars, and they were awful. I can't build a guitar, they suck. But I had this one guitar that I made, this Swiss cheese guitar that I made out of an old Ibanez Roadstar from like 1983, and drilled holes in it, painted it yellow, threw some DiMarzios in there, and that was my main guitar for like 13 years that I toured with and did everything with until I hooked up with Vigier. But yes, so I heard Eddie Van Halen. I was like, holy shit, okay. And then that made me think more about, all right, what can we do as a guitar player, not just as a band member and a songwriter. And then soon after, Yngwie came out. I'm like, whoa, all right, we got some practicing to do. And started just trying to learn everything off the Steeler album, his acoustic intro to his solo, and just everything. And then Flexible came out. I'm like, what the hell is going on? Attitude Song. And getting into that. And by that point, I was taking guitar lessons for a long time, and it was always just studying the academics, reading and music theory, getting into jazz and classical and all of that. And I started...
1 second. Now I say classical, before I forget. When I listened to your first album, I think it's 95, if I'm not mistaken, 95?
Yeah.
I think 95, right? The Adventures of Bumblefoot, it's very experimental, like very, very experimental. And do you listen to like like composers like, I don't know, like Oliver Messiaen? You know who's Oliver Messiaen? Oliver Messiaen is one, or Bela
It's like
Bartok.
more of the avant-garde composers
Yeah,
and things.
do you because it's very, man, it's very crazy in a good way. Yeah, because like, man, you need to understand, like my generation, like is, I'm 40. So that's like, the next generation, the 90s. We didn't have the internet. We have the time of the Walkman and a mixtape, and and you exchange the music, and that was amazing for me. And I always tell the story. Had taekwondo lessons, taking the balls there was forever. So that was my time to listen to all this music and teenager rage stuff. So you listen, okay, Metallica, Iron Maiden. You're playing guitar and you're like, okay, I can play that. Okay, next level, Megadeth. All right. Then a guy came with these REH videos and this Shrapnel Records stuff, man, and you're like, wow, like we saw that back then, and actually we're kind of like, oh, Van Halen is great, which you start to appreciate more Van Halen later on because you see all these guys already playing all this stuff that is insane, and then the composition stuff is the one that really like got me going with you, because I'm like, wow, it's very experimental, it's very different. I mean, as you play and stuff, but the composition too. So like, how are you, like, that what came from, man? That came from where influences in your first album? Like how that became to
Jazz theory and just a lot of experimenting. I like to challenge myself and I like to experiment. And I think it showed up in a lot of the music. Some weird shit. Yeah. Yeah, and just having a sense of humor about it all.
No, I mean, I love it, man. That's what I was telling you, because sometimes when I hear your music on like some Steve Vai or even Cacophony, whatever, and sometimes they have these harmonies with the whole scale notes and it's very different. You know what I mean? Like, of course, you have the neoclassical stuff, very classical, Mozart, Sebastian Bach, all that kind of stuff. That is, let's say, that's like the mainstream. Like the mainstream in classical music, like
the Baroque legacy dudes.
The Baroque dudes. So that's usually like, like that's like the mainstream right there. But then you have people playing all these second minors crap that sounds like very different and experimental and stuff. And so I just always wonder, like, I guess a lot of that makes sense. Yeah.
Always loved like the Romantic era piano classical stuff, and then just the intense, psychotic stabbing Tchaikovsky and Stravinsky and all of that.
There you go.
And then getting into when everyone started really fucking with it all, Schoenberg, Slonimsky, and just kind of breaking the diatonic rules and venturing out and saying, what about 12-note music? What about just dividing octaves and making runs just from that, like if you take the same riff and you play it every, whatever it is, every quarter of an octave, or actually I think I did that in the song Strangles on the first album. I remember there was
I was going to tell you about that song and a story that I went to college for music education and the bachelor thing, and I saw all these composers and I have to analyze that, and it was very boring, man, because it was just like the paper, so it kind of sucks. It kind of like, and then I'm like, man, I hate these, but then I found your music. And then I found Cacophony and I was like, oh, okay. So these guys, I'm like taking like, I don't know, I bet they're hearing these guys, but I can now relate being a guitar, metal, rock player, whatever. For me, it was very difficult to like analyze that. But then with your music and with the experimenting and stuff, it was easier for me to like, oh, okay, now I understand how it sounds. I understand seconds. I understand the sevenths. I understand all that you're saying. So that's it. Now you can please play for us.
Like I remember in the solo, I was building up and it seemed like it really was like a Slonimsky type of thing of just taking a pattern and moving it up. So the idea was just like, E7 sharp 9 with a 13, And if you start throwing in like the sharp 11 to it, and if you start moving that around, if you go to its tritone, you're almost kind of getting the same thing.
Sorry, Ron, but maybe you need to point out the microphone to the guitar, because your voice sounds great, but the guitar, for some reason, I cannot.
Oh, I wonder if Zoom is doing that thing where it's like, oh, your guitar is background noise. Let's get rid of that.
Yeah, maybe.
Let me see. Let me check.
That's why we need to do it in.
Okay, well, I'll sing the notes. Okay, E7 sharp 9, really E13 sharp 9 sharp 11, right? And if we go up a tritone, so if you take that and if you go in between and just treat it almost like a diminished every 1.5 steps, you go down and you have the root, and the 13, and sharp 11, and then you get in a flat 2 to the 5. And if you went down again, you have your sharp 11, your sharp 9, your root, your fifth, and then the flat 2 again. So now it's kind of like you're getting, when you put those together, you're getting an 8-note scale, the whole tone scale, where you have root, flat 2, or flat 9, sharp 9. You have your third, you have your sharp 11, and your 5. You have your 13, your 6, and your dominant 7. So that's what you get from that. So you can easily just, we're not going to hear it, but so you don't hear a note, do you?
No. So I mean, I'm right now, like, of course, I don't have perfect pitch or anything like that, but of course, when you're telling me the sound, the tritone comes, and I'm like, oh, okay. And I know
Like
that's
when I sing it, do you hear it?
yeah. Oh, yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Do, 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 do. Do, do, do. Do, do, do. Boom. And you just keep building it that way, and I'm not going to hear a fucking note, damn it. But
anyway,
those kind of, that would be a Slonimsky idea.
Great. Now I have my answers. Thank God.
So yeah, that would be where it's just more of a pattern, and a lot of musical purists will say, well, that's not musical. But if that's the case, like, how far do you want to go down that hole and say, well, then we should only play Christmas songs in Ionian? It's like you have to branch out, and you have to just, there's lots of different types of music, and it's not just Western music, and it's not just whole, half to work with. And, are those people going to say that Eastern music using 3/4 steps is not music? Or, you just have to have an open mind about it. But at the same time, we all like what we like, and we don't what we don't, and there's no, that's like how it is. Yeah, so if you don't like something, that's fine. Yeah, if you don't like it, good. If it's shit to you, fine. Go listen to something you like. If it's interesting to you, cool, explore it more. Yeah.
Oh, great. I want to ask you also, making that album, how was back then? I actually really like when I talk to you guys. I interview other guitar players from Shrapnel back then in the 90s, 80s. For me, it's like a I don't know, like a dream, because I saw you guys on the VHS, in my house. I'm like, oh my gosh, I want to be there. And you guys, oh, you did it, you were part of the label, because that's when you're like in Shrapnel back then, you're like the shit, basically, you know what I mean? Like the best of the best of the best, period, And as a guitar player, how was that, man? How was that like back then, being in that?
Well, originally I did not want to be an instrumental guitarist on an instrumental label. And Mike Varney, he wrote up a nice review of my music in a Guitar Player magazine in August 1989. And he offered me a situation with a drummer and a bassist where we can make an album. And I told him I just want to stick to vocal music and my dream of doing bands. So we stayed in touch, we stayed friends, and I would do a song here and there for different comp CDs. He did Ominous Guitars from the Unknown, I think it was 91. And I put a song on that, and his brother Mark had a label called Legato Records, so he did a series called Guitar on the Edge Records. So I did songs for number 2, 3, and 4, and then in 1994, Mike told me that he's starting a record label, like a division of Shrapnel, that's going to have vocal bands on it, and asked if I would be interested. I was like, yeah, let's do it. So signed the deal, and then he said, well, now that you're signed, we're going to do an instrumental album. I was like, what the fuck? So I had the idea of, this Bumblefoot album, and that all goes back to just a song. Like, my wife is a veterinarian, and Bumblefoot is the name of an animal disease, ulcerative pododermatitis. And while she was studying, and I came across that, and I was like, that's a funny name, Bumblefoot. So I wrote a song called Bumblefoot. So when we did the album, I had this idea that I would name every song after a different weird animal disease, and then write a song that I felt like matches the name in some way. Strawberry foot rot, fistulous withers, strangles, rinderpest, blue tongue, scrapey, orf, all these weird animal diseases. And I just wrote songs. It started off where I started with the names. I knew that Bumblefoot would be the opening track, and that it would be called The Adventures of Bumblefoot, and it would be this sort of comic book looking thing, which is why 30 years later, putting out this new album, Bumblefoot Returns, I did the same idea, just more evolution to it. So now, instead of it being this cartoon bee foot thing and burning buildings overhead, it's my double neck guitar, and it's a spaceship, and all this spaceship, and my cat Simon is piloting the ship, and it's just an updated version. It's now compared to all the time.
All right. So I want to ask you something. You were talking about music for video games or movies or whatever, and I was watching some of your interviews, and you talk about a publishing company that you created back then, I think on the 90s, if I'm not mistaken, like a publishing company. So how that works, like making music for this kind of stuff, how that works, you have themes like on TV or commercials or...
Yeah, so in the early 2000s, I was doing a lot of music for all the MTV shows and VH1, a lot of different shows. I did the theme song to this Japanese game show that was like a mixture of Jackass and a game show. It was called MXC.
All right.
And there was also that metal show that was on VH1. I did the theme song to that. I did music for the Osbournes, for Hogan Knows Best, for like every show on MTV that you could think of. Pimp My Ride, whatever it was, like all of those in the early 2000s. I did one of the first video game soundtracks that used real music when it switched from 8-bit boop, 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 kind of stuff to actual 16-bit audio. It was a Sega game that's really underground now. It's a really weird game called Wild Woody, and it was about this pencil that would like draw its own weapons and things and erase the bad guys. And it was just like somebody was on massive amounts of drugs when they came up with this game. It was the weirdest thing. So I made like 28 different 2-minute songs to go with each of the levels of the game, like a pirate level and a cemetery level and a, outer space kind of level and like all of that stuff. Yeah, I've done a lot of music for a lot of things, a lot of weird indie horror movies, and it's fun. And it all comes back to instrumental guitar music. Yeah. After I finished my deal with Shrapnel Records in the mid-90s, I started my own record label for my own music. And I got distributors in all different parts of the world. And yeah, and when it comes to publishing, that is the rights to the songs themselves. Now, there's different aspects of it. A record label, if they're paying you to record, usually in the record deal, it means that they are going to own the recording of the songs. They don't own the songs, but they own that recording of it. And it probably also says in that record deal that you can't re-record the songs. This has to be like the exclusive recording of those songs that they paid for. So if someone wants to use those songs, they have to use that recording and get permission from the record label. And if you're not, if your record label isn't very friendly, they might say no and screw you out of a lot of opportunities. So you want to own your recordings. Then when it comes to publishing, as the songwriter, there's two halves to publishing. Publishing is when you actually take the songs and you put them to work. You get them, they're being played on the radio, or they're in the background of a football game or something, like whatever it is, or they're in a car commercial, something like that. That's where publishing comes in. As the songwriter, you get half the publishing as a songwriter. The other half goes to the publishing company. Now that publishing company can also be you. Or it could be a company that you hired to push your music and to make it available for everybody. You should own your publishing, all of it, both halves of it. The songwriter's share, which you will have, and the publisher's share, which you should have. Get 100%. And from there, now it's a lot easier with the internet for people to find music and for people to make music available. You want to go to like a sync company, one that these people will go to when they're looking for music. There's so many people that will say, oh, there's no place for instrumental music, just because they're thinking radio and video channels and all those things. You just sneeze. God bless you. God bless you. But yeah, this instrumental music is out there more than ever. As much as we hate Spotify and it fucks us in the ass financially, more people can find instrumental music than ever. Mm-hmm. So the fans know where to go and where to look for it. It's doing very well when you have Vi and Satch doing a huge tour and you have so many generations of people doing stuff, whether it's Intervals or Pliny or whoever, or, Tosin, like, it's not going anywhere and you hear it all the time. Every time you turn on the TV, you're going to hear instrumental music in the background somewhere.
Sorry.
It's out there. It's out there plenty.
I was going to ask you that. So sorry for my voice again.
No, it's okay. Yeah. Kick it out. Kick out all the gunk out of the lungs. Get it out.
No,
there you go.
And you make me laugh. That's why, man. Ron, how you created like your fretless like guitar? How all that happened? How double guitar? How you have too much? I want to ask you that, like, how you get all your like imagination for all that you do, and also after you answer that, I will ask you how you get the motivation, man. Because I just met you, we're just talking right here, for an hour almost, and you seem so full of life and motivation, like that's what I get from you. And man, that's awesome. It's such a good sunshine, that you're giving me, and that's an inspiration, because music is hard, man. For some people, maybe they were lucky and their entire life was fine. For some others, no. And you need that motivation, that inspiration, and you're just radiant this sunshine thing, which is great, man. So I just, how?
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Well, there's,
the truth,
I've
man.
learned.
I'm just saying you the truth, man.
I appreciate it. Yeah. I've learned lots of things. I have suffered from suicidal depression my entire life. And you realize that you don't really want to die. You just feel trapped in situations that you think you can't get out of, and you think it's hopeless and you can't get out. So what you need to do is you need to get rid of the things that destroy your spirit, the things that make you hate life. And you need to make those changes. That's what you need. You don't want to die. You're looking for change. So change your life. You have to not pity yourself and say, oh, I'm just stuck here and there's nothing I can do. That's bullshit. You have all the power to change how you live, how you think, everything. So it starts with that. You need to just look at things differently. And you have to say to yourself, all right, I am not going to feel sorry for myself, and I'm not going to keep training my brain to react in this way to things that happen, and realize that, my reaction is all in my power. I choose it, and no one else chooses it for me. That is completely 100% me.
No, that's great advice. Thank you for sharing all these, Ron. Like, thank you so much. Like, me as a musician too, when I was 15, 16, 17, whatever, it was more about the exercises, like I want to get better. I want to get better. Right now I'm 40 and I'm more about being positive through the music, and bring that kind of light that you're bringing right now to me, like that sunshine light. Like, man, the life is great. Music is great. It's not a course, it's like, it actually is a gift. It's good. And thank you so much for all that. That's valuable. That's more valuable than a sweet picking advice. So you understand that right now, because
you can find that stuff anywhere.
Anywhere.
Yeah.
But now when you have here a sensei, Mr. Miyagi here, that's gonna tell you all the reality. He tour. He play in small, big, medium venues. He plays with also with Brian May. He does everything. He has a hot sauce. He does music for TV. He has a double guitar. The guy is a genius, and he's giving you all this information.
You were asking about the double guitar.
Yeah.
Yes, all credit goes to Vigier Guitars, the French company Vigier, Vigier. I would make weird guitars in my own version of fretlesses, and they were pieces of crap. They were awful. But Vigier, the company began in 1980, and I started playing their guitars in 1997. I was on a tour through France, and one of their reps brought a guitar to one of my shows and said, try this guitar. And I had my fucked up Swiss cheese guitar, and I was like, nah, I'm not looking for an endorsement. And he just insisted. He's like, try it. And I played it, and it was just the greatest feeling on my fingers I had ever felt. So I started using Vigier guitars, and we went to the first NAMM show in 1998. We went together, and I was at the booth, and I see these.
Sorry, Ron. That was in Anaheim, like the same.
The big music conventions.
Same convention center, same spot, same thing, right?
Yeah.
Okay, keep going. Sorry.
And he had these single neck. He didn't have any double necks. Everything was single neck, but he had these metal necked fretless guitars, and my eyes got big. I'm like, holy, like, why didn't you tell me you make these? And I remember Patrice, it's so funny, I still remember it. He stares up so like frustrated. He looks up, and in his French accent, which I'm not going to imitate because it'll sound more like, Botswana than France or something. He's like, in 18 years of having this company, we have only sold one of them. Nobody wants these fretless guitars. And I was like, give me one. And I started immediately. I took one home and started writing all kinds of music with it. It was all over, like, every album ever since. And it became more of a part of what I do, to the point where I wanted to access it not just for a song, but during a song. And the most practical way to do that was to do a double neck. And we thought about retractable frets and different things, but double neck. So it was 2008, 2009, they started making this signature fretted fretless double neck. Yeah. So it's them. They know how to build guitars.
It looks so...
They're wonderful,
so, yeah. It looks so good. Do you have a double case, I guess, soft case or hard case? I guess a good hard case when you try for Jakarta, for example, right now.
It fits in a soft case that is just the right size, that it fits in an overhead. Let me show you. I got one right here.
Oh, great.
So surprisingly, the case is not that bad. It's a squishy case, and
okay,
and it just fits on the sides and everything, and it fits in the overhead. It's flat enough. If it's a big overhead, it'll even fit over other people's carry-ons.
And it's from the same brand, right? From the same brand that makes the guitar.
I believe it is. Yeah, it came with the guitar, so I'm sure that they're probably having a company make it for them, specifically for the guitars.
It's awesome that you can bring it on, on the seat, on the fly with you. That's good.
Yeah, anytime I've brought in a hard case, any guitar in a hard case, and put it in with luggage, it would get just destroyed.
Buttery, no? It's like you...
Yeah. So I always bring it in a soft case in the overhead. If possible, they'll put it in the storage closet, and on a smaller plane, they'll even gate check it, where they put the little pink or green tag on it, and they board it on with all the baby carriages and everything. And it's safer there than in luggage. Yeah.
Awesome. So you bring that plus the Line 6 Helix, of course, your computer, your interface, and that's pretty much, right? You're set to play anywhere. Bigger shows or smaller shows? Bigger venues or smaller venues? Which one you like?
What do I prefer?
Yeah, which one you prefer, or which one you like the most? Like, you like better stuff in the arena because this, or in the smaller venues, maybe this is better. I feel very nervous for some reason in the smaller venues, man. Like big venues is like I feel a little bit disconnected. Of course, I never play at your level, but I have some opening big acts, like big arena things, and everyone is like, are you like scared? Are you afraid? Are you nervous? I'm like, to be honest, they're so far that who cares what I'm playing, man? They don't, nobody, I mean, they care, but it's just like, I don't feel the connection. Then you're like playing these dive bars or whatever, and they're there. I'm more if it's like a guitar concert, those dudes right there, like,
See, I like that better.
They're like, I play better than you kind of thing, and they're I'm like, so what about you?
I like small personal shows the most, where you could interact with the people, where you can be eye to eye, where you can smack each other's hands, everything. Yes, I like it where I feel like we're all there as part of the same mob. Absolutely. I don't like... Well, I won't say I don't like, but I like less when you're on this big stage, you're far away from everyone on the stage, there's that big moat full of alligators, or in this case, cameramen, and then the barrier, and then the people, and it looks impressive, but it reminds me of when William Shatner actually went to outer space. Mm-hmm. He was so excited to do it, but in the end, he said, I feel completely empty and alone out here. I feel like everything is down there, back on Earth. There's nothing out here. It's just emptiness. There's nothingness. And it's the same kind of thing. When you play a small show, you feel like you're back on Earth. And when you play the big show, it's like, okay, now I'm just in space. Yeah.
Yeah. So right now you said that you have a gig. You told me you have a gig coming up in Jakarta, right?
Yeah, big one. It's 85,000 seat stadium. It's going to be with Billy and Eric from Mr. Big. Now Steve Vai is going to join on guitar as well.
Awesome.
Gary Sharon from Extreme will be singing. Dino Jalusic will be singing. Derek Sherinian, my Sons of Apollo bandmate, will be on keys. And there's the Indonesian band Dewa 19, which is like the biggest rock band of Indonesia for decades. A great bunch of guys.
Wow, so that's coming up like soon, right? Like
September 6th.
Are you planning to tour with the album next year, or?
I'm making sure I'm ready to play the songs, but I don't plan on touring. My dream in life is to never fucking tour again. Well, no, seriously, I did it for decades, and when the pandemic hit, I just realized how much life I missed, how many things, and I just realized, like, I don't want to spend my entire life away and just living out of a suitcase and being this distant entity that's not part of family get-togethers or anything, and missing every wedding and funeral and everything and birthday and just not part of my own life. So I'm touring less. I'm still going out and playing shows,
like
still doing things.
More spread, I guess. Yeah, like some shows here.
Yeah, but I'm not spending my life on the road the way I did before the pandemic. After that show in Jakarta, as soon as I get back that morning, from traveling, I'm doing a show right in Princeton, New Jersey. Something is a fundraising show for this organization that helps teenagers with cancer. So doing that. So we're going to play and do some good. And after that, I am going to do 2 weeks in Arizona as part of Rock and Roll Fantasy Camp. It's going to be with Alice Cooper and Rob Halford, and going to do that. Yeah, lots of things coming up. I'm doing, music cruises, get to bring the wife. It's like a vacation for her, a playcation for me. And yeah. So it's that. I love the food, just going to different places. And yeah, just the food is
what kind
different.
of food you remember in Latin America?
Oh God, my God, what a meat fest. Phenomenal. Yes. I was definitely, I left there 5 pounds swollen more, and full of meat. Yeah, just Brazilian barbecue and Argentinian steak and everything. Yeah, the food there is wonderful. Absolutely. And the people. Yeah. It's not just the food, it's the celebration and just like the enjoyment. It's a social thing.
Yeah.
And that's fantastic. Yeah.
Talking about barbecue sauce, what about your hot sauce?
My hot sauce is, yes.
Yeah, let's talk about that, man. I was checking that, and I'm so bad that I'm have such a bad acid reflux, so I have to be very careful with that kind of stuff. But my wife's, she loves hot sauce, and I was like, Jake, he has one, and he was like, well, we need to try it, we need to buy it. So how is that? How are you doing with that? That's very interesting, though. Yeah,
I've been making hot sauce for a long time. I love it. It's my I guess second passion, or my other thing besides music. It started, there was a company that took me under their wing and released all the sauces for me and everything. And then that was in 2012, 2013. And then I sort of went into business for myself, got my own distributor and manufacturers and everything. So since 2019, I have my own Bumblefoot's hot sauce, and I have a mild all-purpose red sauce with delicious Mediterranean herbs. I wanted a sauce that goes with every kind of food I like to eat. So if I'm eating Greek or Turkish food, if I'm eating Indian food, if I'm eating Chinese food or Thai food or Mexican food or Italian food, whatever it is, this is the sauce that I would choose. It's the sauce that you keep on the table all the time.
Well, thank you so much for your time, and I don't want to take more of your time. I think I can stay here with talking to you about life like for the whole rest of the week, man. Thank you so much.
No, it's my pleasure. I'm sorry that Zoom is not allowing for sound. I did the settings, and it's not doing it because I would love to,
No, it's
rather than just like miming to silence.
Maybe next time. Maybe I hope it's a next time. I hope it's a next time for sure, man, because I really, really appreciate all your knowledge today. And again, all of us in the community are big fans of you. And to be honest, I talked to, again, the Brazilian friends that I told you that we share in common, and they just said good things about you. And I was like, oh, great.
Nice.
I have a little story that I did a tour this year in Brazil with Kiko and Kiko Loureira, and he was with a singer, and it's Alirio Nieto. And we met there, a really nice guy, and of course we were flying, everywhere, and I started to talk to him, and he's like, oh, I have a new album, coming up, and let me show you, and he kind of showed me, and I was like, wow, that sounds great. So he showed me the song. I was like, oh, that's doable. I can play that. Because he was kind of like, I might want to play next year or something. So kind of like insinuating to play or something. I'm like, I'm in, man. I'm in. And then, and I have a guest, I'm like, yeah, sure. He pulled up the phone and let me show you this one. And he's Bumblefoot. I'm like, oh, shit. I didn't say anything. I was just like, And he played the solo. And to myself, I said, I'm screwed. He want me to play this, I'm screwed. But of course, I said to him like, oh, yeah, I can do it for sure. I can do it.
Look, if I could play something, anybody could play it. It's just practice.
But yeah,
I am an ape.
No, it will take me. You're the kind of guy that honestly, if I get a gig replacing you one day in my life, I don't want to replace you because you're so unique, man. So this is the kind of guy that you don't want to like place anywhere. You know what? He's another guy that like kind of your language. Let's say like the Paul Gilbert guys that are more a sequence kind of thing that is also very difficult to play. And he's amazing. Don't get me wrong. He's one of my favorite, but it's more my kind of thing. With you, it's unpredictable and these techniques, man, and it's so experimental that I can lose the gig. But yeah, so I was just like myself. I'm just like, oh, I'm screwed. But I told him like, man, yeah, easy, and it sounds amazing. I can't wait to hear that album. It sounds really good.
I thank you. Hello to the mutual Brazilian friends, and a big thank you to everyone in the community. Absolutely, it's a wonderful community, and I'm happy to be part of it.
Oh, thank you.
Guitar.